We now enter the third and final decan of Scorpio, the 21st to 30th degrees. This zone is sub-ruled by the moon in Cancer, bringing Scorpio's long journey through the underworld back toward a place of emotional consolidation, self-mastery, and protective power. Having survived the raw instincts of the first decan and the deep psychic fusion of the second, your planets in these final degrees are no longer trying to fight the shadow or drown in the emotional depths. Instead, they have become the phoenix. This is the range of the psychological master, the spiritual anchor, and the fierce protector who takes the heavy, intense lessons of life and transforms them into an unshakable emotional fortress capable of sheltering others. 21 degrees Scorpio, placed from 20.0 to 20.9. The Sabian symbol, a soldier derelict in duty-obeying conscience. Symbol meaning: this degree represents a profound moral awakening and the courage to break away from blind obedience. It highlights where a planet refuses to follow orders or corporate scripts that violate its soul, choosing instead to risk personal safety or status to uphold a higher, internal ethical truth. What the planets mean here. Sun, a deeply principled whistleblower or activist who is willing to walk away from a prestigious career or institutional system if it means preserving their moral integrity. Moon, possesses a fiercely independent emotional compass, cannot be forced or guilted into complying with toxic family dynamics or rigid societal expectations. Mercury, mind is intensely critical of systemic corruption or unethical laws, excels at writing legal dissents, investigative exposes, or ethical philosophies. Venus, values absolute moral alignment in relationships, will instantly walk away from a wealthy or high-status partner if they prove to be deceptive or cruel. Mars, drive is guided entirely by personal honor, channels energy into defending conscientious objectors, fighting unethical corporate mandates, or forging a highly independent path. Jupiter, great fortune with human rights advocacy, labor unions, legal defense funds for underdogs, or writing influential literature on ethical reform. Saturn, facing early trials involving intense institutional pressure or authoritarian control, discovering that your ultimate strength lies in standing by your inner truth. 22 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, hunters shooting wild ducks. Symbol meaning: this symbol represents aggressive focus, processing raw survival instincts, and the direct, unvarnished realities of nature. It shows where your planets must learn to channel their intense desires and predatory instincts constructively, balancing the raw drive for conquest with a respect for the natural order. What the planets mean here. Sun, a laser-focused strategist, high-stakes sales manager, or conservation hunter who knows exactly how to lock onto a target and execute a plan with absolute precision. Mercury, mind functions like a hawk, exceptional for pinpointing logical vulnerabilities, executing high-stakes financial trades, or studying wildlife ecology and predatory behaviors. Venus, attracted to the thrill of the chase and romance, loves intense, competitive dynamics but must watch an accidental tendency to treat partners as prizes to be won. Mars, physical energy is highly aggressive and targeted, excels in martial arts, marksmanship, strategic hunting, or driving high-risk corporate takeovers. Jupiter, success found in investing in tactical equipment manufacturing, wildlife management reserves, corporate acquisition firms, or high-end sports optics. Saturn, facing early experiences of being targeted or bullied, learning to master your defensive instincts and developing a disciplined, unshakable focus that protects your territory. 23 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, a rabbit metamorphosed into a nature spirit. Symbol meaning: this is a degree of ultimate evolutionary leap and psychological transmutation. It represents taking a core vulnerability or a history of fear, the rabbit, and completely transforming it into a source of spiritual power, agility, and deep, magical connection with the earth. What the planets mean here. Sun, a profoundly transformative healer, shaman, or creative artist who has completely conquered an early life filled with anxiety, turning that sensitivity into pure spiritual charisma. Moon, possesses an incredibly fluid, regenerative emotional system, can experience intense anxiety or fear but holds the unique ability to bounce back completely transformed. Mercury, mind is highly attuned to animal communication, plant medicine, esoteric alchemy, and finding brilliant, non-traditional ways to escape impossible traps. Venus, loves with a soft, magical, yet intensely protective quality, seeks a relationship that feels like a sacred sanctuary away from the harshness of the world. Mars, energy shifts from raw, aggressive force to lightning-fast agility and stealth, highly effective at maneuvering out of danger using pure intuition. Jupiter, exceptional luck with herbalism, holistic trauma recovery centers, environmental restoration projects, or writing best-selling fantasy and folklore literature. Saturn, overcoming an early phase of life dominated by debilitating phobias or a victim mentality, discovering that your softest sensitivities are actually your greatest spiritual gifts. 24 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, crowds coming down the mountain to listen to one inspired man. Symbol meaning, this degree represents compelling psychological authority, speaking with a voice of raw experience, and the power of magnetic speech. It shows where your planets have walked through the fires of personal transformation and now return to the collective to share hard-won wisdom. What the planets mean here. Sun, a highly magnetic public speaker, master psychotherapist, or inspirational leader whose deep life experience commands absolute, quiet respect from massive audiences. Moon, deeply fulfilled by guiding groups through emotional or spiritual healing, acts as an unshakable emotional anchor for an entire community or family network. Mercury, mind possesses extraordinary rhetorical power and hypnotic resonance, ideal for delivering life-changing keynote speeches, teaching large seminars, or broadcasting. Venus, attracted to highly charismatic, articulate, or spiritually evolved partners, projects a powerful aura that naturally draws admirers from all walks of life. Mars, channels physical energy into vocal power, leading major social movements, teaching masterclasses, or forcefully cutting through public ignorance. Jupiter, spectacular luck with launching massive publishing empires, selling out large lecture halls, running major wellness ministries, or public relations. Saturn, carrying the heavy responsibility of being a public voice for truth, overcoming early public speaking anxieties to become a deeply trusted authority figure. 25 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, an X-ray photograph. Symbol meaning, this is the ultimate degree of absolute transparency, forensic vision, and piercing insight. It highlights a planet that completely bypasses superficial layers, social niceties, and flesh to look directly at the structural bone, the core truth, or the hidden rot in any situation. What the planets mean here. Sun, a brilliant radiologist, diagnostic doctor, forensic investigator, or psychoanalyst who can see through a lie or a hidden physical ailment within seconds of meeting someone. Moon, possesses an intensely penetrating psychic gaze, instinctively mirrors people's shadow sides back to them, making deceit completely impossible around them. Mercury, mind functions like a laser scanner, exceptional for deep software code auditing, mechanical engineering diagnostics, corporate forensics, or profiling. Venus, demands absolute, raw transparency in love, cannot tolerate polite secrets or emotional masks, preferring a messy truth over a beautiful lie. Mars, channels physical energy with hyper-targeted accuracy, excels in surgery, technical precision crafts, structural engineering, or exposing hidden financial fraud. Jupiter, great fortune with manufacturing medical imaging technology, running cybersecurity firms, leading elite audit committees, or inventing diagnostic tools. Saturn, facing early fears of being exposed or vulnerable, mastering the discipline required to look at your own deepest flaws with absolute, clinical objectivity. 26 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, American Indians making camp after moving into a new territory. Symbol meaning, this symbol represents adaptability, resourcefulness, and establishing roots in unfamiliar landscapes. It shows where a planet has the unique survival capacity to pick up its life after a major upheaval or relocation, immediately adjusting to the new terrain and building a secure home. What the planets mean here. Sun, a highly resilient pioneer or expatriate who thrives in setting up new corporate branches, adjusting to foreign cultures, or rebuilding their entire life from scratch. Moon finds emotional security in their practical survival skills, capable of making any temporary tent, apartment, or new city feel deeply safe and grounded within days. Mercury, mind is exceptionally practical and resourceful, excellent at emergency camp mechanics, terrain analysis, logistics, and mapping out survival strategies. Venus, attracted to nomadic, resourceful, or highly practical partners, enjoys setting up new households together and values shared outdoor or survival experiences. Mars channels physical drive into building shelters, scouting out raw opportunities, packing up and relocating heavy assets, or defending a newly claimed boundary. Jupiter, success found in international relocation agencies, outfitting rugged outdoor gear companies, managing indigenous land trusts, or cross-border logistics. Saturn, overcoming early childhood instability, constant moving, or displacement, discovering that you have built an inner adaptability that makes you unshakable anywhere on Earth. 27 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, a military band marches noisily through the city streets. Symbol meaning, this degree represents the public projection of power, collective morale building, and celebrating survival. It highlights where your planets use rhythm, pageantry, or striking public displays to drum up courage, unite an audience, and remind everyone that the battle has been won. What the planets mean here. Sun, a high-impact public relations director, flamboyant performer, or political rally coordinator who knows exactly how to capture public attention and project strength. Moon recharges emotionally by immersing themselves in loud, rhythmic, or high-energy cultural events like parades, massive concerts, or sporting arenas. Mercury, mind is geared toward writing powerful anthems, managing loud public marketing campaigns, orchestration, or studying mass behavioral psychology. Venus, attracted to bold, expressive, and highly dramatic partners who aren't afraid to show their affection loudly in public, loves grand romantic gestures. Mars channels physical energy into marching arts, heavy percussion, brass instrumentation, military pageantry, or leading highly visible public protests. Jupiter, exceptional luck with event entertainment management firms, professional sports marketing, musical instrument manufacturing, or large-scale festival tourism. Saturn, overcoming early fears of public noise, criticism, or visibility, learning to step into the public square and loudly sound your own horn with disciplined confidence. 28 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, the king of the fairies approaching his domain. Symbol meaning, this is a degree of supreme integration between the rational world and the magical, invisible realms. It represents a planet that has attained total sovereignty over its inner emotional kingdom, commanding respect from both physical people and the subtle, unseen energetic forces of life. What the planets mean here. Sun, a highly charismatic visionary, fantasy creator, or spiritual leader who carries an undeniable aura of royal composure, commanding natural loyalty wherever they walk. Moon lives in a deeply magical, enchanted interior world, possesses an unshakable sense of emotional nobility and is highly protective of their energetic peace. Mercury, mind is a brilliant bridge between logic and myth, exceptional for writing world-building fantasy literature, directing cinematic epics, or channeling esoteric blueprints. Venus seeks an otherworldly, deeply romantic, and highly respectful love, values a partner who treats the relationship as a sacred, magical kingdom built on mutual honor. Mars, drive is entirely effortless and magnetic, commands situations through quiet presence and energetic authority rather than brute, noisy force. Jupiter, spectacular luck with writing fantasy novels, film directing, luxury castle estate hospitality, or managing major alternative creative arts foundations. Saturn, facing early tests regarding an abuse of power or deep disillusionment, mastering your inner kingdom to become a thoroughly responsible, fair ruler of your life. 29 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol, an Indian squaw pleading to the chief for the lives of her children. Symbol meaning. This degree represents the raw, visceral power of the maternal instinct, emotional advocacy, and standing before absolute authority to protect the vulnerable. It highlights where your planets will fight to the absolute death to shield their creations, loved ones, or a vital cause from harsh destruction. What the planets mean here. Sun, a fierce, uncompromising advocate for children's rights, refugee protection, or family law who willingly steps into the line of fire to defend those without a voice. Moon, possesses a hyperprotective, intensely loyal emotional core, willing to endure extreme personal sacrifice to keep their family or creative projects completely safe. Mercury, mind is built for high-stakes defensive negotiation, family advocacy law, trauma mitigation, or writing deeply moving humanitarian appeals. Venus, loves with an unconditional, protective intensity, fiercely loyal to their inner circle and will instantly turn into a warrior if anyone attempts to harm their partner. Mars, channels physical energy entirely into defense, an unyielding protector of the weak, highly effective in emergency domestic crisis management or human rights activism. Jupiter, great fortune with running global child protection charities, family court legal funds, humanitarian asylum platforms, or historical preservation grants. Saturn, carrying the heavy, ancestral duty of protecting a vulnerable heritage or family bloodline, discovering that your fiercest vulnerability is actually your ultimate shield. 30 degrees Scorpio. The Sadian symbol, children in Halloween costumes practicing antics. Symbol meaning. This final critical degree represents total psychological completion, integrating the shadow, and mastering the monsters of the subconscious through play. Having walked through the entire Scorpio underworld, the planet now realizes that the things that once terrified them can be worn as a costume, turned into art, humor, and a source of creative power before transitioning into the bright, expansive light of Sagittarius. What the planets mean here. Sun, a master of the macabre, dark comedy, horror arts, or deep psychoanalysis who excels at making taboo or terrifying subjects accessible, entertaining, and healing for the public. Moon, completely unafraid of the dark, possesses a brilliant psychological resilience that can joke about deep trauma, using wit and play to clear out heavy emotional residue. Mercury, mind is exceptionally clever at subverting expectations, writing suspense thrillers, mastering satire, or using dark humor to dissolve tense corporate settings. Venus, attracted to eccentric, alternative, or theatrical partners, loves playing with subcultures, costume design, and relationships that fully celebrate the unconventional. Mars, channels physical energy into theatrical arts, special effects production, hosting massive public festivals, or playfully disarming threats by mocking them. Jupiter, spectacular luck with the horror/thriller film industry, manufacturing holiday decorations, running major theatrical production companies, or practicing transformational shadow work therapies. Saturn, final integration of all life crises and hidden fears, standing as a fully initiated master of the subconscious who can look at any monster, smile, and know it has no power over you. Subscribe, like, and share.